Okay. Wait, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So now we are going to security. The last time we look at general, we look at health insight, we've looked at authentication. I told you that we'll be coming back a little bit, but we are going to, okay, you let me take you through the authentication first. And then, oh, this. So what we are using is not the OI. This is the Okta Classic engine.
Mm.
Yeah, this
So
is
they don't have the IE for,
developers.
yeah,
I don't really know though.
except you're going to pay or what?
No, so that is what that was what I'll be using. That is the 30 days free, I'll be
Oh,
using.
okay.
Yeah. But no problem. You let's go. It's almost the same thing, but not really so much difference.
Or you want me to open one later?
No. Yeah, later on, yeah. So after the course, you go here. Let me show you. You come to Okta free account. So let's go to Okta workforce. So you search for the Okta trial free account here. So this is where you select the workforce identity cloud. So this is where you register. You ask for the first name, last name, business
Mm-hmm.
email, and that should give you the OIE. But let's you because the network is exactly the same thing. So we can
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and do the network. All right. So the network is very important part of working as an Okta administrator. um okay, yeah. So yeah, so basically the Okta the networks, we have two types of networks. We have the IP zone and we also have the dynamic zone. So the IP zone, now remember this because this is going to come in the multiple choice. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, the IP zone, let's start with the IP zone first. The IP zone, you create registers of gateway IPs and proxy IPs.
Mm-hmm.
So when I click on the IP zone, basically you have to specify some gateways that you want to allow, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
allow traffic to come through Okta. So for example, let's say in your company, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a gateway,
Mm-hmm.
right? And with your gateway, let's say anybody who comes to the office, that is the IP address that those people are on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the IP address is, let's say, 10.10.0.1. So let's say this is the gateway that the service provider has given to your company, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put this gateway. You can also add another one to it. Let's say 174.128.1.1. So let's say these are the two gateways that you have. Now, the first thing you need to do is that you need to give it a name. So you can say allow gateway IP address.
Mm-hmm.
Allow gateway IP address, which simply means that any traffic, which simply means that any traffic that is coming through this IP address is going to be allowed.
Mm-hmm.
I can click go ahead and then click on save. So if anybody comes to the office and they are on this,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be able to get access to Okta, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Now, with this same thing here, for example, let's go back. If let's say somebody reported that somebody, let's say one of you staff members reported that, oh, somebody has been able to log into the account. So there's a suspicious activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they did that, you were like, when you did the research, you were able to find that person's IP address, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is that you can say that you can name it, let's say block IP address. So then let's say the IP address is, let's say 63 dot 63 dot, let's say 10.8.1. So this is the IP address that the user said that it's hacked into the Okta account. So then you are going to check on this block access from IPs matching condition listed in this zone. So when you click on this, what is going to happen is that this IP address here is going to be blocked. So as you can see, you see that here we have block IP addresses listed, IP block list, this one. So let's say another user also says that, oh, a different or somebody also tried to log into my account. So then, or not even that. So let's say maybe your company uses, let's say, a cybersecurity tool that has been able to detect suspicious or attackers' IP address in the dark web. Normally, it happens. Normally, there's a lot of IP address in the dark web that are blacklisted. So what you can do is that those IP addresses, you can come back here after you created this one, you can come back here to the pencil icon here, edit, and then add those IP addresses. So let's say one is 192.168.10.8. That is one. You can go and then add another one. Let's say this one is, let's say 50.6.10.2. Another one is, let's say 148.6.6.1. Then you can go ahead and click on save. So this will be the IP address that you are going to block, right? So let's say another user of your company says that, oh, I'm working from home, but somebody has attacked my computer. So then whenever you are doing the suspicious activity, you have to check for the IP address. And last time I showed you where you check the IP address. So if the person reports suspicious activity, you try as much as possible to check the person's, let me duplicate this one. You try as much as possible to check the person's system log. So when you come to the system log here, report and system log. So you try as much as possible that you have to come, let's say I'm James White. I'm the one who reported it. So we come to system log, search for me. And then in here, you have to search for my IP address. You see, so this is the IP address. You see that? So now you have to check whether it is me. So if the person report that, well, it is not him or her, then you have to check the IP address and then come back to the network side here, and then you add that IP address so that it will block it.
Okay, but you also say make blacklist or something like that. Can you go back there? There's also a link at that
Which one?
place.
This one?
Yeah, no, yeah, this one, yeah, make
No,
zone, make.
so it's simply no, it's just an event, something that I did.
Okay.
It says that successful zone.make blacklist. So the blacklist is because, so this one is successful because I created a block list right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that event has recorded. Yeah, so that is basically that. So that's what it means. So that is for the IP. That is for the IP zone. Now let's go to the dynamic zone. Now in the exams, in the multiple choice, they're going to ask you the difference between the IP zone and dynamic zone. Normally, the dynamic zones are the ones that comes in the exams, and they will ask you that which of these things belongs to the dynamic zone. Then they will give you location. They will give you ISP ASN, right? So when you see location and you see ISP ASNs, then that is dynamic zone.
Yeah.
Do you get it? When you see gateway, sometimes they can ask you which of these feature is found. Okay, they can ask that which the gateway feature is found in which IP zone, in which zone. So they can ask you maybe like which feature, which is the gateway. So maybe the gateway feature is found in which zone. Then you have to know that this gateway is found in the IP zone. It's definitely going to come in the multiple choice. All right. So now let's go to dynamic zone. So in the dynamic zone here, there are two things. The same thing that we did with the IP zone, that is the same thing that we're going to do here. But here, we have this place you can specify which country you want to block. So for example, let's say, let's just leave the zone name. Let's say IP type. Here, in any IP. So normally, whenever you are setting up the policy here, you just have to just pick up any IP. Don't pick any proxy or any anonymizer. Just pick any IP. So now the IP type it could be just any IP address. Then you can select the location. So location, when you click on location here, you can say that let's say we want to block Nigeria. So we are blocking Nigeria. So Okta is very, very how do I put it? It's a very nice tool because even with this, if you can specify which state, and I haven't been able to see this one in Microsoft Azure, but with this, let's say I want to block, let's say Akwa Ibom or Anambra State.
Or go to the north.
Oh, Enugu, no.
The north.
Okay. So these are the states. Okay, let me see. I'm going to block Enugu State. So let you have
No, go
Enugu.
to the north.
I should
North.
go to the north.
North.
Oh, I should block Delta.
No. You go to like Zamfara, all those states. Yeah.
So you see, so this is very, very good. So let's say we are blocking Nigeria. Let's say, why are we blocking Nigeria? We're blocking Nigeria because we think that probably maybe there's a lot of scammers and attackers who are coming from Nigeria. So we let's say we want to block Nigeria. So we can go ahead and say, okay, fine, block this. And then we can say block, the name could be block countries. Right. So then you have to go ahead and then click on this block access and IP address. So now if anybody is coming from Nigeria, from this state, Zamfara state, that person cannot get access to Okta. But if the person is coming from Nigeria, Enugu state, the person can get access to Okta.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I hope you understand that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's say save. So now let's say we want to modify it a little bit, but this time we want to block everybody in Nigeria. So we can just go ahead and just delete this one and just come back, add location, and then search for Nigeria. For the state, we just have to leave it like that. So now we are blocking the whole of Nigeria. This is some of the things that you have to do when you start doing like managing Okta tenant, because not every country, let's say your company is found in America, right?
Yeah.
The only country that you need to allow is America. If your country does not have any branch in that country, you can block it unless somebody is going to work in it. Let's say you started work. So now you can say that, well, we want to block. I know that Russia is, let's say we want to block Russia.
Yeah,
We want to,
we totally block Russia and all federal state governments.
Yeah, we want to block China. We want to block North Korea. Let's say you want to. Let me just type Korea, Republic of Korea. This is okay, this is North Korea. Let's say we want to block Ireland. All right.
Why would you want to block that? There's nothing wrong about that.
Yeah.
Don't block Ireland.
Some country, somebody tried to hack me from
Afghanistan.
Let's say, yeah, Afghanistan people. So
Iranian.
now, yeah. So now, if anybody is coming from these countries, they will not be able to get access to it. So let's say we go ahead and then click save. Now, this is good. But let's say one of your workers is going to Nigeria, right? Maybe next week. Then the person wants to work from Nigeria. What you can do is that you have to come back again and then say that, okay, fine.
Or you edit.
Because the person might not really tell you the state that you see. So in order not to cause confusion, right?
Better to just remove it.
No. Yes, just remove Nigeria, right? But in your policy, whenever you are setting up authentication policy, which I'm going to show you. So when you do this, right, you say you come to authentication, you come to sign on here. So let's say you're going to set up a policy, right? Let's say the policy will be for travels. To consider this policy applies to only people who travel outside USA. Okay, let me just, do you have groups?
I think so.
Okay, let me just make one right quick. So let's call this group
Sales
travel.
group.
Oh no, no, let's make it travel so that we know there might be some people who like to travel a lot. So we just say travel. And then we can go ahead and type travel. Add it to fit the policy. Now, this is where the magic is going to happen. This is global accession policy. Hold on, let me cancel this first. Hold on, I'll set up the rubric. It's been a while since I used this, so kind of forgetting how this thing is set up. Let's see, this is factor enrollment. Okay, I think this is it. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Behavior network delegated. Okay, I think it's still the same thing. Authentication. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You
so
had the
here,
rule. You have to have the rule.
yeah. So now we are going to say that this is going to be the travel rule. Travel rule. So let's say if the user IP address, right? No, hold on a minute. Let's go back to networks. Let's go back to networks. So the person has told you that he's going to Nigeria, right? So what you have to do is that you have to come back and add another dynamic zone and say, allow Nigeria, right? And then you search for Nigeria here, and I'm going to show you something you're going to do. So add Nigeria, and you click save, right? So here, there's a policy that says allow Nigeria. So when you come to the policy, the rule that you are creating, right? You are going to specify that if the user IP address is in zone, right? So we have not in zone, in zone. So if it is in zone, let's say in zone, right? And then it's going to ask you for the zone. So they have to be the allow Nigeria. So you see that I have allow Nigeria. Okay, perfect. The next thing they're going to do is that, and if that any provider is any authentication, this one you don't do anything. The risk is just any risk, whether it's low, medium, high. The person, it should require a multi-factor authentication. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes, because the person
So
is living
another layer of security.
another layer. Yes, so here you are going to tighten the security. So here you said that the user will be prompted for MFA at every sign-in when signing in with a new device after MFA lifetime. So you have to always choose at every sign-in. Perfect. And the next thing you need to do is that you have to set up the maximum Okta global session policy. And if you really hear it say that setting a maximum session lifetime reduces the risk of session cookie misuse or hijacking. So the cookie can be hijacked. So you have to set it. So Okta recommend that you set the time limit. And then make sure that you set the time to be 8 hours, not 8 days, 8 hours. So after 8 hours, the cookies have to expire. Maybe the person is working within 8 hours, right? So after the 8 hours, the cookies should expire, right? And then the maximum Okta Global's ideal session time, the time that if the person is not using Okta, the Okta, what do we call it?
Like 1 hour or 30
Yes,
minutes.
you can just say 30 minutes. Perfect. You can just say 30 minutes. So 30 minutes here, and you create this rule. So now do you understand? So whenever a user, somebody in the company tells, oh, we are traveling to Nigeria. So this is the policy, this is how you're going to set it. So you have to, first of all, come and create a network. And when you create this network, that is when after creating the network to allow the country that the person is going, then you can come to authentication and then create an authentication policy for the person, like what we just did. And then you tighten the policy. So if the person comes back, right, from the trip, the next thing you're going to do is that you have to go back to networks and then deactivate. You have to deactivate that allow Nigeria so that now it blocks it. So you can go back to the block countries again and then include Nigeria to block Nigeria. and then you can click on save. Right. So basically, this is the network. Now, let's so these are the networks. So the other thing is that let's say you want to allow this one is blocking to country. Let me just go ahead and even delete this one. API. Okay, let me refresh. Oh yeah. Because I already have authentication policy for that. Let me go ahead and then
You have to
delete
remove
this.
it.
Yeah, I have to remove this one and then delete this one. Perfect. Let's go to networks. Delete. Yes, so now it's gone. So let's say now you have to set up another location to allow the country that you're working from. So let's say add zone, dynamic zone, and then let's say allow, let's say allow zone. Let me just name it allow zone. And then let's say the country will be United States. So we are going to allow United States. And then we are going to allow, let's say Canada. Perfect. So these are the two countries that our, let's say your company operates from, United States and Canada. So you have to allow this. Now, where is allow zone? So this is called, the policy is called allow zone, right? And it's for Canada and the United States. So after you're done with this, now you have to come back to authentication policy here
And create a rule.
and create yes, an authentication policy. So you have to add a new policy here and say this one will be allow zone policy. In order for you to remember, you can just put it there and say USA and Canada. So this policy will be for anybody working from USA. Then you can assign this group to, let's say, to the everyone group, because everyone in the company is working in America. So you can create policy and then do it to everyone. Then you can see this will be allow zone. Then you can even put it into bracket. You have USA, and then you can add and Canada. Allow zone bracket as a rule. Okay, so now this is going to be, then you can say that if the user IP address is in zone is going to be this country, USA and Canada, right? So in zone, then let's search for the zone. So the zone will be allow zone. Perfect. Allow zone. Then we come back here and we say, okay, yeah, now because the person is working from America. Now, if you want to implement MFA in the company, this is where you're going to add required, right? But if you don't want to, set up, if you don't want to implement MFA, and maybe like, for example, let's say you are using Okta FastPass, then you have to disable the MFA and then make it not required. And then still you have to come back and then set up the limit to 8 hours or 1 day. Let me just say 1 day, and then set the maximum Okta global session policy to 1 hour, and you create policy. So basically, what this policy is saying that anybody who is coming from USA and Canada, or who is working from USA and Canada, that person will not go through MFA, right? The person will be able to get access to Okta without MFA, and then this policy will apply to the person. Now, let's create another policy. Now, this policy will be allow, this is not in zone. So this will be not in zone. Let's say USA and Canada. USA and Canada, right? And then we assign this one to the same thing, everyone in the organization. And we create this policy. So now we are going to say this one is not in zone. So not in zone. So if the user IP is not in zone, so we are saying that not in zone, right? So not in zone, what zone are we looking for?
Oh, not in zone, right?
Yes, yes. But you see that here we have
the blocked list.
no. So you see that here we have allow zone,
Allow
right?
zone.
Allow zone. But we are saying that we want to block any other country that is not we want to block any
Oh,
person,
and if that is not from, okay, those
Canada
two
or
countries. Yeah.
those two countries. So here in the add rule, you are going to say that if the person is not in zone, so we are looking for which zone are we looking for? The allow zone. So this one, the allow zone.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So in the network policies, we have the allow zone that is for Canada. You know something? Let me just go ahead. Let me just allow zone. Let me make it more nicer. Right, Canada. Yes. Let me just save this. Now let's come back here. So now,
Oh, okay. Not in the user IP, not in zone, and which
yes.
of the zones? Okay.
So yes. So if the user IP address is not in a zone, so which
In the
zone are we
allow
looking
zone.
for?
Yeah, in
In
the
the
allow zone.
yes. If not in the allow zone, so it's going to be this zone. Because let me add, let me do it well here. So not in zone, and then let me just open here, not in zone, USA and Canada. Normally, it is good to always make sure that you name your rule very well so that you yourself will understand what the rule is all
Yeah,
about.
yeah, so that
Yes,
you don't get confused with
confused,
time.
yes. Yes. So we are saying that not in zone into bracket USA and Canada. So if the user IP address is not in zone, right? So here, which zone are we looking for? If they're not in the allow zone, USA and Canada. So basically what they're saying that if the person IP address is not in zone, and this is the allowed zone, if it's not in the US and the Canada zone, then what we are saying that then access should be denied. You understand? So the networks goes to the authentication policy. So we are saying that if there is anybody who is coming from any country in the world, right? If those person is trying to access the company's Okta tenant, access will be denied because the person is not in the allow zone, right? So we create this rule. Now let's look at the allow zone policy. So you see that allow zone policy, this one, when we look at the rule here, we are saying that allow zone USA Canada rule. So we're saying that if the user IP address is in zone, right? And the zone is what? Allow zone USA and Canada. That is a zone. Then access should be allowed for the person to get access to Okta. Perfect. But if access is allowed, then what should happen? The person should not go through MFA. But for example, let's say the company, we have agreed that you want to use multi-factor authentication. So for example, the person
they have
has
to
to
come
type
here
and then make the changes. So here, so the MFA will be either the person should use a password and another factor, just like the one we looked at it yesterday. So password plus another factor. So now we can say that, okay, well, even if the person is working in America or in Canada, then the person should go through MFA at every signing. So whenever the person is about to sign in, it should trigger for MFA, right? So we can go ahead and then update this rule. So you see that the networks, this network here is working in proportion, is working directly with the authentication policy. Yes, because this is very, very important because whenever you are working, you have to specify the network zones, the network, the countries that you want to block, the countries that you want to allow to get access to Okta. So it's very, very, very important. Now, so here we've been able to know the network. Now, do you understand how to block countries and how to allow countries? Perfect. So this one is really very, very important. So now, something tomorrow because I wanted to do something, but it's not here. This is the classic engine, but probably tomorrow we will look at. I'll try as much as possible to set up for the
Okay, you wanted to talk about workflows and
no
report.
no
Syslog. Well, you already showed me syslog last night.
yeah, I wanted to talk more on the authentication policy because there were some things that I wanted to show you. Yeah, it's very important. But let's go back to authentication again. So let's authentication and then let's come to sign on. So let's say we are saying that not in zone, right? So let's say, let me go to people. How many people do we have here? We have Mira Patel. Okay, perfect. So now let's say the company has hired somebody in India, right? To do a remote job, right?
Yeah.
But you see that we already have a policy here which saying that not in zone. Let me even push this one here. Yes. Let me push number 2 up. So always you can rearrange the policy. Yes. So this one has to come up and then allows open. So let's say the company has hired somebody in India and then the company saying that person should do a remote job, but you have a policy. So immediately that happens, you have to come and look at the authentication policy that you've set up, right? So you are saying that not in zone. We have a policy that says not in zone. So you have to come and then redefine the rule. So come here and say that, okay, even though we are saying that if the person is not from USA and Canada, the person should be denied access, but let's exclude Mira because the company just hired Mira. So let's say add Mira. So basically what is happening is that even though this policy, this authentication policy is denying access to people outside USA and Canada, but it will still allow access to Mira because Mira is in India because you are excluding Mira from the policy. So you update this policy. Now, so you see that even though we are saying that if you're not in Canada and USA, you're not able to get access, but you can also have a solution, right? Perfect. So always you have to come here and then make sure that you check that. Now the other thing is that when you come back to the networks here, like I said, the company I work for, there are people who travel outside, like they go to Mexico and that kind of stuff. So normally what happens is that what my team members do, like when I joined the company, like what they told me was that what they do is that they will ask the person how many days that they're going to spend in the country. So like let's say 2 weeks or something like that. And then when they come back, the system will just remind them and then they will just take the country off and then just put it in the block state. So after you specify the country, so like this example is very good. It's something that you can implement in your environment. Allow USA and Canada, and then if the country or the person is coming from a country that is not in this particular zone, then they are going to be get blocked. So this is how you specify and how you set up your networks, and it's part of the security. It's part of how you can block people from getting access to it. Now let's go back to the authentication policy again. I wish I have the other one. So this is allow USA. So in this policy, we are saying that if the person is in USA, Canada, then you should allow the person to get access to Okta, right? So this one you can just allow that. Now, so now do you understand it from here?
Yeah.
Perfect. So now let's look at the password policy. So we have the password policy. Normally, whenever you sign up with Okta, this will be the default password policy, right? But you can go ahead and then it is always important that you set up your own password policy, or you can edit that one. Some time ago, there was I think it was last year, getting to the end of last year, the company or the attackers that hacked into Okta, I think that they were able to succeed because of the policy that company was using.
Default policy.
Default policy. So that
That's
was
not
why.
good. That's not good.
That was how that hackers were able to get it. So always you don't use Okta default policy. Try to set your own policy. So for example, like this password policy, what you can do is that you can say that, well, you want the minimum length to be, let's say, 12.
16.
16 is a lot. How can somebody? Okay, well, my boss
Well,
also
12 is good. Eh?
Yeah, my boss likes something like that. And then yeah, so you can just say that and then add a symbol to it. There should always be symbol.
And
There should always
numbers.
be, yes, there should always be
Numbers,
symbols, and then you
symbols,
can,
and one uppercase
okay, yeah. And then you
and
can
one
say that,
lowercase.
oh no, that would be too much.
Hmm?
Oh no, one uppercase. Yeah, uppercase is
Mm-hmm,
better. So
mm-hmm,
there should be
mm-hmm,
uppercase in it. And then does not contain first name. So you have to check this one. They should
mm-hmm,
never use their first name or last name.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes. And then also always make sure that this one, so common password checks. So they should not use common passwords.
Mm-hmm.
So always you have to check this one. Restrict use of common password. Now, enforce password history for the last password that they've used, Okta will be able to remember and it will prevent them from entering the same password again. Okay, they have to enter password, yeah. And then the password minimum age should be 2 hours is the minimum, but you can change it to, let's say, 3 hours or something like that. But never check this password expired after 120. No, never check. The password should not expire. Don't even check it. Now, there's this one here. It says that prompt user 5 days before password. So this one too, don't check. This one will only work whenever you check the password expires, right? Then this is something that I don't really agree. So for me, I always make changes. Log out the user after 10 unsuccessful attempts is too much.
It's too much. Maybe
It's too
3.
much. No, three will be very annoying because if you forget it. So normally at least 6 is okay. They try 6 because
6.
they will try to brute force attack the account. So at least 6, if the person tries 6 times and it doesn't work, it was the Okta threat inside will quickly pick up the person, and then basically what will happen is that
It will
if
lock
you
the person out.
it will not just lock, it will block that IP address.
Mm.
Yes, that is the Okta threat inside. Sometimes it
So
is
what I
crazy.
don't understand is, so you're saying the password will not expire?
No, never let password expire. Even if you check the NIST password, NIST
Yeah, NIST.
pass, yeah, NIST password guidelines, it will tell you that don't what do we call it? Don't It says that use a password manager. Password length is always greater than complexity. Choose the show password while typing option. Breach password protection. Keep your password safe with self-tossing. Don't use password hint. Don't change password frequently. Do you see this? Don't change the password frequently. So that is why I'm saying that don't let the password expire. No,
Yeah,
just
but when your organization prompts you to change your password, is that not
no
an
change.
indication that?
So it depends on the policy that the company wants. So if your company says that, well, the password should expire within 90 days, fine. That one you have to go
Yeah,
with. You
we
have to go
we
by
we
that.
usually change, maybe, I don't know, some months like that. We
3 months.
just, yeah.
Normally it's 3 months.
Yeah.
So yes, if your company say, okay, well, we have a password policy that have to that allow users to change their password or forcibly change the user's password every 90 days, fine. Then you can come back here and then change the password. And then check this and then just take this
Yeah.
one to, let's say, 90 days, right? Then so when you do
So
this,
so so because this is what most organizations do, though. They have to do this in order to prompt, for the
well,
system to prompt.
yes. So in this one, yeah, so 5 days before password expire, you can prompt the user, right? And then account is automatically unlocked after 60 minutes. No, don't check this.
No. Yeah,
Yes.
It could be an attacker trying
Yes,
to.
yeah. So the attacker can wait for 60 minutes and then
Mm-hmm.
immediately the account unlocked, the person can get in.
Mm-hmm.
Then this one, show logout failures. This one you have to check it so that even if it's not an attacker, right? But is the, what do we call it? Is a normal user who is trying to log in.
Yeah,
Is it
you want it to be seen in the
see
system
by,
log.
no, not the system log, on the login interface, the Okta login interface.
Okay.
Yes. So for example, hold on, let me show you something. No. Let me try to open my Okta tenant. Let me log out from here.
Is it not the one that said expired?
Oh yeah, it's expired, so I can't get access to the admin console.
Okay.
So here, yes. So if I keep on typing the username and password 6 times and it fails, it will show up here. Then that
I
must,
see. Okay.
yes, that yeah. So it will show up on the login screen side, or what do you call it? Yeah, on the login page. All
Okay.
right. Then send logout email to user. So this one, you have to check this one. Now, the reason why you check this one, you check this one is because if it is an attacker who is trying to get access to the user account, and then the person's account is logged out, it will send an email to the user, right? That his or her account has been logged out. So that will prompt the user that, no, wait, I haven't logged into Okta, so why is my account logged out? So then the person can then report that there's a suspicious activity.
Okay, so but if that hacker has already succeeded in getting that user's account and has access to the user's email, so he can actually with this being, the selection.
Well, if the person have access to the user, well, that is security for you. If the
Then that
attacker,
would be a problem.
yeah, that would be a problem because the attacker would be the one to get the email. But normally, whenever you send an email, the email is encrypted. I think that the email is encrypted or something like that. For that, I don't really remember. But yeah, but
I thought that this option should be left unchecked, because if it's an attacker that has already gotten into the person's account, you don't want this checked. You
yes,
want
yeah, for
the
that,
user to actually get in touch with the admin people to say,
well,
okay, this is the issue I'm having. Then they will now go into their own console to
to answer,
investigate.
yeah.
Then now if they authenticate, they will authenticate of who she is, find out, after they have confirmed that, okay, this is the right person, then they will now send
The
her,
reactivation email. Yeah.
reactivation email.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's like I was saying, it depends. Like, but if
it depends on organizations, though.
Yes,
It depends.
because I remember normally whenever you are setting up the password policy, you have to go through with your boss, right? Because I remember for me when I drafted a password policy for my company, and then my boss and I, we went through everything, and then it was like, okay, let's do this, okay, let's change this, let's not allow this, blah blah blah. So yeah, so always you have to do it with your boss just to make sure that you're on the safer side. Oh damn, it's fine. And then let's finish this one, the password policy, and then we can continue on Thursday. So we have the self-service recovery option, right? In case the person has to recover the account, how will the person receive the email or something? So you can either use SMS, which I don't really subscribe to that, because today there was a post that Google and Facebook, they are, what do we call it? Their two-factor data system was breached on the internet. And yeah, so it's not advisable to use SMS or always use email, so that the person can receive the email to do a self-service, what do we call it, recovery. Yeah. So then whenever they receive the link, you can say that, well, the link should expire within how many hours, so you can specify whether an hour or 2 hours, and that should be it. Then we also have the password recovery question complexity. So the question, 4 characters, you can say 10 characters, or based on whatever you said, but the default one is 4. So normally you can say that maybe you want it to be 5. All right. So then after that, you can update the policy, and this should be it, right? So yeah. So it's always good that you draft the password policy, let your boss look at it, and
So
then
when you're drafting the password policy, you use the NIST guidance as your guide. Okay.
yes, for me that's what I did. So I use the NIST password guidelines. But even though the NIST has their guidelines, some security managers will be like, okay, we can pick somebody. We're not going to go through everything that NIST has. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So because it's from company to company. You know what I'm saying? So for
Yeah,
that,
you have to.
yeah. Yeah, so it's 5 6.
Okay.
Let's see.